Hello, everyone. My name is Addicyn Reece, and I'm going to be talking about my portfolio critiques. So a little bit about myself. I am a senior majoring in creative technologies. I actually started with dual degree engineering coming into Berry. That was not a great fit for me. I've learned that, and I have tried to even overachieve the fact that it wasn't a good fit for me. I've stayed in the program for 2 of my years at Berry. The learning process wasn't a good fit as well. I was just struggling throughout the 2 years that I decided to stay in that major. But I ended up changing my major at the end of my sophomore year. Um, and I did this because I had a friend that graduated last May, and I helped them with their 101 project. And throughout this process, I understood that um, I'm I do well in a hands-on learning environment. So that's the main purpose or reason why I did change my major. But that doesn't really tell you about me as a person. As a person, I'm very creative in a way that I want to show and not tell people that I'm creative. I usually show this in a way of like doing my hair differently or doing my makeup in a way or just wearing something that shows people that I'm more than just a student. My portfolio theme is centered around creating and designing wearable nature-inspired art through 3D modeling and interactive technology. I realized that this is going to be my theme probably after hackathons because all of my hackathon projects were nature-inspired. I just usually the nature that inspired me is just forest themed. I realized that this is the case just based off of um, how how I design and interact with nature. My first year at Berry, there was a um, dance, and I realized that I put flowers in my hair. I put flowers on my skin just to imitate nature. So the projects that I want to showcase today are plant holders, berry hills, and my mushroom hat. All of these projects have something to do with nature, as you can see. But the first project that I want to talk about is my plant holder. I named this plant with a backbone. The reason why I named this was because plants don't usually have bones, so might as well just give them bones. It is a living thing, so I just wanted it to interact with something that's also living or just an idea of living. So in this process, I laser cut a frame, I 3D designed and 3D printed a atomically correct heart, and I used Arduino to code it with a red light that imitates a beating heart. I used my plant from home that I always see that's just hanging down to the floor. So this purpose of the project was to create a sustainable environment for my plant to grow within the ribs. This was probably the first project that I've done that shows that I'm going to do projects that were nature inspired. This was my 101 project. My second project that I want to touch bases on was my fairy hills for my hackathon. The purpose of this hackathon was to make something that inspired me to walk on, hence why I used hills. I took an everyday simple object such as hills, and I had some type of nature within the hills. I chose orchids as my base flowers because I just adore orchids. Many people find it hard to grow orchids. I also find it hard. I'm pretty sure I've killed one orchid, so I thought, but the flower, just because the flowers fall off does not mean that it's dead. Um, so that's one of the reasons why I chose orchids is because every single time I go into the store, my eyes automatically points to orchids. Yes, you see roses every single day, but orchids is something that is just unique in the way that it grows. Um, but yes, this is my hackathon project that encouraged me to continue to move on and walk across the stage. These are the shoes that I will be wearing across the stage come May. So this is my mushroom hat. This was my first hackathon project. The way that I built this was based, the base was made from cardboard, funny enough, but and it was just used with fabric, cardboard, and laser cutting, and I've also coated LED lights to show underneath it to create a combination of wearable and technology. It is a little simple, but I just think that the size of it shows a lot of what I can do. So I want to talk about my capstone. Before I go into it, I want to ask you a question. Have you ever seen a flower on a walk that you want to just pick up and put it behind your ear or put it behind somebody else's ear? Okay, so the capstone is made to solve the problem of creating a long lasting flower. Because usually when you pick up that flower, it only lasts 5 minutes, maybe 10, maybe a day if you water it well, but not all flowers are going to last long that you want it to. But I named my capstone Botanical Jewel, and it's just crafting unique handmade jewelry from live flowers. So Botanical Jewels, I have the first products that I have made were orchids. Previously stated, I do adore orchids, but the process of just drying and getting live orchids to dry took about a week, and I realized I have to step back and choose different flowers that are not going to take a week to dry. But throughout this process, I learned what people liked and what they choose to wear. Just because I like orchids does not mean everybody else will like orchids. So I had to take up many other flowers around me, such as the daffodil that is very grown, just to reach more audience, and colors will reach more audience as well. The spring market was the time that I realized what a lot of people have, what a lot of people like. A lot of people like the rose necklaces or rose petal necklaces. And during this time, I realized my theme or what I choose to tell people. Just because you don't see a flower here does not mean that I can't make it. So throughout the whole time I was at the spring market, I would usually tell people, if you don't see something that you like here, I can definitely make a flower that you will love. So after that, I just carried on with that. So after the spring market, I had the opportunity to make a bridal shower earring set, which I'll show you later on. So my focus designs for the flower as a whole, or the pieces as a whole, is sustainability. The process of just getting a live flower and drying it and curing it with resin took a long time, but to make sure that it will stay long lasting, it had to take a long time. So the focus on making the product using practical materials, roses were my most valuable live flowers that I use, just because it takes 2 days to dry. And after that, I realized that it was easier to cure it with resin versus an orchid. An orchid usually takes about 3 hours, just because of how many petals are within an orchid, and how I wanted the resin to dry on it. So the whole process took about 6 hours just for the resin curing. For the connection, I wanted to create jewelry that embodies nature and emotional connection. I have mentioned that I've chose orchids because I think that it reflects me, but not all flowers represents me in a way that I wanted to. So I chose flowers that is sentimental to someone. The uniqueness, I create a design that stands out and speaks to the audience. Yes, like flowers are going to speak to you just by being flowers, but I wanted to design and make it wearable in a way that it complements the flower and it speaks to the audience as a whole. So this half one is my bridal shower earrings. Funny enough, these are the flowers that she wants in her wedding. So she chose the flowers that she wanted to be worn on her bridal party. This whole process took about a week and a half because I've made 10 of them as a whole. But my design goal one is to design custom pieces for people and get to know what people like. I have mentioned that I like orchids, but not all people like orchids. So I found that after the spring market, most people like roses or daisies or daffodils. And this is an this is a design that I have made recently. It's my first custom order for a person named Lily. And so I made earrings from Lily to for a person to give them to their girlfriend. This is the process of all the flower petals I've chosen to make wearable. So my design goal two was to focus on revenue and sales. I have made 80 units of jewelry pieces, and my intended goal was to sell or to get to 2,300. I did not reach that, and I've made $920, and I've sold 40 units. This column is just the orders I have sold throughout the spring market and tabling at Cranard, and these are my custom orders that I have put in. I have not sold all of my custom orders yet. I just got the daisy set last week and I'm working on that now. But this column is just what I still have in my stock. Most people, I am selling today at the Finals Fest market, which is the first market that's going to be hosted from Final Fest. So y'all can come and see me around 3 to 7. So my design goal 3 is to grow my Instagram. My goal was to reach 300 and I've reached 436 followers, which is an amazing goal that I have reached and overcome. But the purpose of my Instagram was to show what I can do in the process that I've gone through. I wanted my Instagram to speak to a lot of audience. I have put a form in my Instagram for people to customize orders. The reason why I love customized orders just because I know exactly what they want and I know how to make the jewelry speak to them. I don't know what always fits because I've made a large orchid that was intended to be a necklace, but it did not sell well. So I made it to be a hair clip. I don't have a picture of that, but I do have it with me. So I will show you that later. But I wanted my Instagram to speak to audience and to have a larger viewpoint for berry students and other communities as well. So what does the future hold for me? My career goal is to be product design or product development. I have recently understood that there is a market for fashion tech, which is just combining fashion and finding innovative ways to make something better. I have discovered this through Threads of Tech, which is trying to get people and employees to go in the back end of fashion. And furthering my education, I'm going to take a gap year, but I want to apply to Clark Atlanta, Georgia Tech, or North Carolina A&T for human-computer interactions. Georgia Tech is the only one on this list that has the human-computer interactions, but Clark Atlanta and North Carolina A&T has computer science, which is something that I also want to do. But during this gap year, I want to get my certification throughout coding and stronger my coding skills. And throughout the time, I want to build my portfolio. I do have 2 companies, which is my dad and my church, that I'm going to focus on improving their website since it is out of date. I feel like after the website is improved, they're going to reach more audience in today's society. Thank you.